You ever stop to think about the incredible physics of bringing something to a dead stop? I mean, not just anything, but a 100,000-ton floating city. And then, on that exact same deck, stopping a 30-ton jet that's screaming in at 150 miles per hour. They sound kind of similar, right? But believe me, we're talking about two totally different beasts of an engineering problem.
So, let's start with the big one. How in the world do you park a vessel of this scale? You can't just toss something heavy overboard and hope for the best. No, this is all about control, incredible precision, and just a massive amount of raw mechanical muscle.
And just to put that number in perspective, we're talking about a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. This thing is over 1,000 feet long. The sheer momentum it carries moving through the water is, well, it's just mind-boggling. To bring something like that to a halt, you need a system that is every bit as monumental.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to start deep inside the ship, looking at its unseen braking system. Then we'll see that massive anchor in action. After that, it's up to the flight deck to see how you catch a speeding jet. We'll even see how that tech is used on land, and then we'll wrap up with why none of this works without constant, painstaking maintenance.
First up, let's talk about the anchor. But listen, this is not just some big, heavy piece of metal. It's really just the visible tip of this incredibly powerful mechanical system that winds its way through multiple rooms deep in the guts of the ship. A system that has to work perfectly every single time. No exceptions.
Let's crunch some numbers, because they're pretty wild. The anchor by itself, 30,000 pounds. That's basically like hanging 3 full-grown elephants off the nose of the ship. And it's attached to a chain that stretches for nearly 1,500 feet. To handle all that force, these carriers actually have 2 of these entire setups, one at the bow and one at the stern.
So our little tour is going to start deep in the belly of the ship, in a room called the chain locker. This place has exactly one job: storage. When the carrier's moving, all that massive chain, hundreds and hundreds of feet of it, sits coiled up in here, just waiting for the command to drop.
Now, moving up from the chain locker, a shaft leads right to the windlass room. You can think of this as the command center for the anchor. This is where you'll find the windlass, which is basically a giant, super powerful winch that's responsible for all the heavy lifting, and of course, the heavy stopping.
And the absolute hero of this whole operation is a component called the Wildcat. It's this specialized drum, and you can see it has these teeth that are engineered to grab each link of the anchor chain perfectly, and that lets it do 2 crucial things. 1, hoist a 30,000-pound anchor up from the seabed, and 2, just as important, it acts as a crazy powerful brake, fighting against the chain's enormous force to control it on the way down.
Now, you can't just cross your fingers and hope a system this important works. You have to prove it over and over again. So the anchor drop test, this isn't just practice. It's a super detailed procedure designed to find any tiny little weakness before it turns into a total disaster out at sea. And this process is incredibly thorough. They don't just, chuck it overboard once and call it a day. First, they do a controlled drop, using the brake the whole way. Then they pull it back up and do a free fall, slamming on the brake at a set depth. Then they do it again, this time letting it free fall all the way down to 30 fathoms. That's 180 feet, all to make sure that brake engages within a tiny, specific margin of error. It's all about 100% reliability.
Okay, so we've successfully moored our floating city. Awesome. But the challenge of stopping things is far from over, because right up on the flight deck, a whole different high-speed problem is happening: how to catch a multi-ton aircraft with only a few hundred feet of runway to play with.
So let's just put these 2 challenges side by side for a second. With the ship, you're wrestling with just immense weight and static forces. But with the jet, you're trying to absorb a ridiculous amount of kinetic energy from insane speeds. And you have to do it all in about 2 seconds. It's totally different physics, totally different systems, but both are absolutely mission critical.
What happens next is this violent but kind of beautiful ballet of engineering. The pilot lowers the tailhook, aiming for one of those steel cables stretched across the deck. The second it snags, that cable yanks a massive hydraulic engine below deck. That engine absorbs all the plane's forward energy and brings it from 150 miles an hour to a dead stop in about the length of a football field, slamming the pilot forward with some serious G-forces.
This arresting gear technology is so darn effective, there was no way it was just going to stay at sea. The Air Force saw it and adapted it for a very different, but equally critical job back on solid ground.
And that's where the BAK-12 comes in. It stands for Barrier Arresting Kit. You can think of it as the land-based cousin to the carrier's arresting gear. But its job isn't for everyday landings. This system just sits there, on standby, waiting for a worst-case scenario.
an in-flight emergency where a pilot knows they just can't stop the plane on their own. And really, the whole point of this system is summed up perfectly here. This system is here to stop that aircraft from possibly crashing, saving the pilot's life and saving the aircraft. It's not about being efficient or routine. It's about being the absolute last line of defense when things have gone very, very wrong.
So here's the thing. Whether you're stopping a massive ship against the ocean's pull or a fighter jet against the laws of physics, none of it works without constant, meticulous, and I mean meticulous, maintenance. These systems live in a world of just incredible stress. They're constantly fighting friction, corrosion, and pure raw force every single time they get used.
And the checklist for this stuff is just grueling. For the anchor, can you imagine? Sailors might lay out the entire 1,440-foot chain on the dock just to manually inspect every single link for tiny cracks. For the BAK-12, technicians will use heavy-duty tractors to just strain the cable over and over, testing its strength and making sure the energy absorber is working perfectly. In both cases, if you miss one tiny detail, it could be catastrophic. So when you boil it all down, what we really have are two incredible stopping systems born from completely different needs. You've got the carrier anchor, managed by Navy crews, built to fight enormous weight and the endless corrosion of the sea. And then you have the arresting gear, maintained by Air Force techs, engineered to tame extreme kinetic energy in the blink of an eye.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? We've just looked at two really specialized systems. But what other invisible feats of engineering, systems designed to handle these extreme forces, are out there quietly keeping us safe every single day? It's something to think about.